forward onto the computer. So cool. Okay, you didn't have to know that, Bianca. But okay. Okay. So the first step in Herbalife, and everyone here's gone through it. The reason why I really love this business is that it really is an even playing field. Like in a traditional job, if you know someone, if your dad owns the business, if whatever, there's politics and all that crap that might get in the way to stop you getting promoted. In Herbalife, it's just you versus you. So everyone starts as a member, and as a member, you get 25% off. Okay? Simple stuff. As a senior consultant, you have to do 500 volume points within a calendar month from downline or yourself, doesn't matter. And you make 35% off. And if you have downline members who join up and they're at 25%, you actually make the difference between your profit and their profit, meaning you'll make the 10%. Does that make sense? It's like what they're making minus what you're making. So if it's 35 and they're 25, you make 10% wholesale profit. So as soon as someone goes senior consultant, they have downline, they should be getting their bank forms into Herbalife. If you guys are listening to this and haven't done that yet, you should definitely do that anyway. Just so it's one thing less you got to do later. Okay. So that's senior consultant. The advantage is, well, we're sharing our presentation from the BTS, is you'll get a hat for doing 1 month. This is called the MAP program. I actually pay for months 1 and 2, and then Herbalife will send you a Herbalife branded blender, but it's got to be done within 90 days of signing up, guys. So month 1, you get the hat. Month 2, you get the singlet, and month 3, you get the blender, okay? So just 500 volume points 3 months in a row. For the MAP program, though, it does have to be personally purchased volume, meaning that you're eating the products and you're helping 4 to 5 people do the same thing. Next step on the marketing plan is the Success Builder order. That's 1,000 volume points in one order. Can't be accumulated. It's the only one in Herbalife that can't. Get 42% off. If you have 2 people in a line, so I sponsored Bobby, and we go, hey, Bobby, let's get our products at 42% off. If you put it under Bobby, then you both actually get 42% off for the rest of the month. So you can team it up and just split the money however you two agree. Yeah? And then you get 42% for the rest of that calendar month. After that calendar month, unless you do it again, you drop back down to senior consultant. So you go back down to 35%. It's like a buying privilege. Yeah? Qualified producer, you get 42%, and that's permanent this time. Qualified producer, you got to do 2,500 within 3 months, meaning you can do it right on the end of the 3rd month. So end of month comes along, you need 200 volume points, you just pop the order in, and then all of a sudden you're a qualified producer until you go supervisor. Or you can do it in 2 days. It's up to you, right? It's up to you how many people you talk to straight away, I guess, or you extend that out over 90 days. So that's qualified producer. What I call these steps between supervisor and member is like your supervisor bridging steps. They're just like stops on the train track while you go on the supervisor. That's your first major step. So why do you want to go supervisor? If you have any questions, Bianca, please just ask, okay? And you guys too. Why do you want to go supervisor? You get 50% retail profit. So that's heaps better than 25 for the same job. You get 25% wholesale, and you get 5% royalties. So what the wholesale means, if you're a supervisor, if you've got qualified producers and they're putting in orders, you make the difference. So it's like 50 minus 42. That's how you work out your wholesale profit. So you get 8% of that order. Okay, if someone's a member and they just sign up and they're just like a VIP, just ticking it over, it's 50% minus 25%, and you make the 25%. Okay, so the way we make royalty income through Herbalife is we're a supervisor and we have a whole bunch of supervisors placing orders in our business. That's all royalty income. So hopefully by this stage, these guys are pretty focused on their own goals. They have some type of understanding on what they're doing and what type of information or where to get the information as well. And they're focused on their goals, and they know that the SDS and the BTS and the trainings is where you actually get the information to succeed by then. And then really your job as a sponsor is done. The rest is up to you. Okay, so that's supervisor. The reason why we want supervisors in our business is they duplicate supervisors. And the more supervisors you have in your business working towards their goals, the more royalty income you're going to make, essentially. In regards to royalties, and this is one that's a little bit harder to explain, you get paid in 3 levels. So meaning you sponsor someone, who sponsors someone, who sponsors someone. Those 3 people are all all in your, what I think they call it your pay line, or I just say in your 3, right? So down to your 3rd line. What I recommend is we build it deep. So deeper than 3. Why? Because if, for example, if person X, who's my front line, does 0 volume points for the month, but their person, so, the person on your 2nd line and 3rd line and 4th line do their 2.5, it doesn't actually change your income, because the person on your front line does nothing, then they don't get any royalties. So it means it all rolls up, if that kind of makes sense. I'm trying to keep this really simple, but it's a complex type of thing, which we call roll up. So for me, for example, I might do last month I done 175,000 volume points in 3 levels. And I done maybe about 60,000 roll up, just from having a wide business, and this person doesn't do his 2.5 and whatever. You've actually got to do 2,500 volume points a month to get paid your royalty, but not your wholesale. Okay, so how they work that out is, as a supervisor, every 500 volume point marker. So if you do 500, you get actually 20% of your full royalty. If you do 1,000, you get 40%. 1,500, you get 60%. 2,000, you get 80%. So you still get paid something, but unless you're doing your 2.5, you don't actually get paid everything. And as a Herbalife supervisor, you just don't want to be leaving money on the table, because someone makes it. It's just not you, right? So those 2.5 just needs to be, for some of us on the call, might seem hard. But once you do it once, you're like, well, that's not that hard. You just need more people who are working towards supervisor in those lower levels for you to be able to do your 2.5. That's how simple it is, right? So you get a few people cutting MAP. You find a few people who want to cut MAP. Then more importantly, you're looking at 3, 4, 5,000 volume points, but you're growing a royalty-based business, which is what you're after in Herbalife. Okay, so that's the supervisor. To go supervisor, it's 4,000 within 12 months. You can do lines as well, but they're a little bit hard to explain. So I just tell you guys if you're up for it. Like, we've got a few people who can do it now. I know, for example, Bobby and Kelly come in a line, but I just keep an eye on that for you guys. So if that's a thing, or you, Lee kind of went through it when he come up as well a little bit, but really hard to explain. We want to keep this simple. So I'll just tell you if you're round about there. And then that's when I'll bring it up with you and explain what it is. Okay, so active supervisor, what does that mean? And this is really the foundation of your business, active supervisor. If you can duplicate other active supervisors, they're getting paid some good money. But more importantly, if you get 3 and get 3 and get 3 active supervisors, it means you're making about $12,000 a month. If you get 4, you get 4, you get 4. I think the mark's like 20. This is in your manuals, 25, 30,000 a month. And if you get 5, you get 5, you get 5. It's like $90,000 a month, just from people who are doing active supervisor cuts. So an active supervisor cut is basically 2,500 or above in a calendar month. To go active supervisor, it means you've done that 3 months in a row. So January, February, March, 2,500 minimum in all 3 of those months. You're an active supervisor, and they don't really plug it too much here in Australia, unfortunately. But it's what in Europe and US you might see if you follow guys on Instagram and stuff. They're called stones, and they call them stones. So they're different lines of active supervisors. They're what they call a stone. Okay, so if you hear that terminology, that's what that is. You do one more month at 2,500. You're a world team member. So realistically, guys, if we're like my plan for my new guys, doesn't always come off, but my plan is to move people through the marketing plan to world team within 6 months. How do we do that? We get some people who are doing MAP, find their people who are doing MAP, because the Go Supervisor, I don't think I said, you can use 2,000 volume points from downline to out of your 4,000. So half. And it's going to help them do their cut as active supervisor straight away. So what that means for you is, they'll be getting royalty check, which increases your retention. People want to hang around because they're making money. It's a business. Yeah, the community's amazing and the products are great and all this stuff. But if your people aren't making money, then I don't know. They're not going to hang around for mind. And when people start getting paid royalty checks, that's what really locks them in. Even if it's like $500, $1,000, because I remember my first one, it was 700. And I was like, if I can do this times 10, that's $7,000 a month. You just start to play that what if game, right? It's a real win. So World Team, there's 3 different ways to do it. 10,000 volume points in a month, personal volume. So it can be from downline or whatever you put through your warehouse. 10,000 org or royalty, which means under supervisors. So let's say you've got 4 frontline supervisors who do their 2.5. That's World Team done as well. Or you can do 2,500, so an extra cut on your active supervisor to go World Team that way. So there's 3 different ways to do it. Okay, what does World Team mean? You're being consistent. You kind of probably have a better understanding of the basics of the business. In regards to income, though, it can not mean anything because you can actually accumulate it. So it could mean the same income as supervisor because nothing really changes from a marketing plan perspective. But active World Team, it does. Because active World Team, you've got to be making a royalty because you've got to do those 3 different ways of World Team within a 6-month period. Okay, so active World Team's a little bit hard to explain, but just bear with me. So there's a personal volume component for it, an organizational component for it, and a consistency component for it, basically. So this all has to be done in a 6-month period. So you've got to do 4 months in a row in that 6-month period over 2.5. You've got to do either 1 month of 10,000 personally purchased volume, which can be one of those 2.5s. So if you do 10, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, or 2 months over 5. So for example, you could do 5,000, 5,000, 2.5, 2.5, and then those 2 components are done. But you also need to do that organizational component, which is probably people's biggest sticking point because they nearly retail their way to World Team. So they're not building supervisors long enough, so they haven't had enough time in the game to be able to build their own business, and all that organizational volume is obviously yours. Okay? And then global expansion team's the last one that we go through today, and that's where your bonuses kick in. So you'll never get better on a supervisor component. You never get better than 50%, 25, and 5. That sticks the whole way through. Even I still get that. Only thing that changes from there is your bonus. So you get a 2% bonus, infinite levels deep. So basically, your average bonus in Australia for a Get Team member would be anywhere from 3 to 4, 5,000 a month, on the low end. Okay, so if you're doing 4,000 retail, that doubles your income basically. So things get a lot more comfortable for you, which is good. Off that 2%. So you can imagine what type of money you're making with a bigger business at Millionaire Team and President's Team, right? So with bigger bonuses. So how you go global expansion team and all these other pins, you have to do cuts, meaning you got to do 3 months in a row of a certain thing. So month 1 is 1 cut, month 2 is 2 cuts, month 3 is 3 cuts. So for example, you've got to do 20,000 organizational volume points within 3 levels, or the equivalent of 1,000 royalty points. So you can use roll up for that as well. Okay, you don't want to, because then your hands are kind of tied and you know, someone does a bit more 1 month in your cards. It just makes it a lot more unstable. So get teams, yeah, 1,000 royalty points, 20,000 org, 3 months in a row, 1, 2, 3 cut. That's how it's done. So for example, for Mill Team, you need 80,000 3 months in a row as well. You can't just do 1 cut and they chuck you the extra money. You've got to build a business that's sustainable and a business that actually earns it, right? You can't just fluke a month and get it. Cool? So that's the marketing plan. You have any questions on that, Bianca? Or you guys?
I'm listening, Jared. I'm just trying to do a few things. So I'm actually going to go back and listen to the recording after just to make sure I understand it all properly.
Yeah, cool. And if you have any questions, just put them through the group.
Cool, thanks.
Cool. Questions? 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 Does everyone know how to get to their next step? That's the most important thing in Herbalife, because if you can get to your next step, generally you just have to show people what you've done to get to where you are now. So for example, for Adriana and Tash, they're supervisors now. So if they show 2 to 4 people how to get the supervisors, generally you'll be world team. You know, based on the volume and whatever going through. Bobby, for example, she's world team. If she shows 2 to 4 people how to go world team, she'll be active world team. Start showing them, mate. Me, for example, if I show another 2 to 4 people how to go president's team, I'll go Champions Club. There's not nearly like a consistent rule all the way through. Show 2 to 4 how to get where you are, and there's a really good chance you'll change pins. Cool. And that's it for the call, guys. So if there's any questions on this, just let me know. Fire them at me. And apart from that...
It's your challenge.
Oh, the challenge. The challenge. I thought about it, mate. What I want you guys to do is actually write that out, because it's a napkin presentation. So you'd have to find a napkin. But I want you to write it down on a sheet of paper. How to go to Global Expansion Team from member and all the way through. And I want you to send it to me privately. It's like homework. So you can write down what you just learnt, and then you might be like, if you have any questions, just ask. It's not like a test. And then I'll be able to, you know, generally I learn best, and I'm not everyone, but I don't know about you guys. I reckon adults learn best when you do it and you go, oh, fuck, I can't remember. And you got to ask. And then because you're searching for that answer and you find the answer, you just retain it better, I reckon. Don't send me what you've already done. You've already sent it to me, mate.
Not me.
Cash bro, I was trying to be sneaky. All right. So that's it, guys. Get me out your marketing plan and chat to you guys soon. See ya.